Hey, welcome to the Nursing Dose with your host, Dr. Farah Laurent. Today, I want to give you some updates about the Nurses Making Business Moves conference. Again, leading up to the conference, we have about 8 days or so left. And yes, you still have the opportunity to get a seat, an in person seat, or a virtual access ticket where you can see the conference live. And if you can't see it live, you will get the replay later. Okay. So, shout out to everybody that is watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm actually about to go live on TikTok right now. So, bear with me for a minute. And for those who have been following my journey, you most likely heard about this conference. But if you haven't heard about this conference is called Nurses Making Business Moves Conference. It's specifically for nurses that are looking for something beyond the bedside. Yes, we will talk about how to basically acquire business skills, negotiation skills, so that you can increase your income, even in your current role, or if you want to advance in nursing. But Nurses Making Business Moves is strictly focused on the nurses that want to build beyond the bedside, whether that's starting a side hustle or a business full-time, being a full-time entrepreneur. This is what we're going to discuss at this conference, okay? Who is this conference for? It's really for any nurse entering the workforce, new nurse, experienced nurse, educator, executive, nurse practitioner. There is something there for everyone. Essentially, what it's going to teach you is how to take what you already know and how to start monetizing that, right? How to start making money off what you already know and turn it into a business model, whether that's becoming a coach, a consultant, a speaker, creating digital products, whatever the case is, having a product or a service, or potentially having both, right? Having an ecosystem where you take your intellectual property and create it into multiple products or services that you can give out to your potential audience that you serve, okay? If you choose to still keep your job, which I highly recommend, whether you want to go to a per diem status, a part-time status, you can still build a business. I did it myself while working full-time as a director of nursing, going to school full-time to get my doctorate, and starting my business when my daughter was a couple months old and my son was 4. I started my coaching business, which is a nurse career coaching business focused on helping new graduate nurses land their dream role in less than 90 days. And I started that in 2021. It's been, this summer will be 5 years. So it's been just over 4 years. I started off with one-on-one coaching, literally just creating content, sharing everything I knew on how to help them with their transition to practice, how to get jobs in the ICU, in the ED, labor and delivery, NICU, all these different places that they keep being told that they can't get jobs in. I saw that it was an issue in the marketplace because it happened to me 20 years ago. They told me as a nursing student that I would never be an emergency nurse. In fact, the instructor literally laughed in my face and said you were too unorganized and that you should go to med-surg. But I refused to accept that narrative. And I pursued the emergency department and got hired right as a nursing student. So then I later promised that I would become an educator, be a super cool, fun educator that inspires the next generation. As I went to become an emergency nurse, I did that for 13 years, worked in various level 1 trauma centers. I was a travel nurse in New York City. I worked in Michigan, in Detroit at a level 1 trauma center there, like so many different places. I later went into education, became a clinical instructor for NYU, School of Nursing, right? Roy Myers. And then at the same time, I was also a clinical educator at NYU. Had various roles in between. I also worked at the VA as an educator, and I helped their residency program. And then fast forward, I had a bunch of different multiple leadership roles, including director of education, director of nursing, both in the clinical setting and in academia. So I saw the whole spectrum from being an ER nurse, an educator, and a leader. And I said, I can make a bigger impact helping this next generation of nurses, actually teaching them what they don't teach them in nursing school. A lot of it has to do with confidence building, how to articulate their value, how to communicate effectively, how to promote and position and market themselves to be the candidate that they select in these areas. And I've helped over 200 nurses get into these roles. So my frameworks, the strategies I've created are proven strategies. Recently helped a new grad get into Stanford, making literally close to almost 200K. And she was super excited, super happy. She was literally in tears because she didn't want to leave California, right? She wanted to stay there. And not only did she get that one offer, she actually got 3 offers. So part of what I do is I give nurses options. I help them see that they have choices and that they don't have to settle for less. Same thing with this conference, the Nurses Making Business Moves conference. As I went on in my career, I wrote a book called Nurses Making Money Moves because I realized in all of my travel assignments, the whole time being a nurse, nurses had a strange, almost like a taboo against talking about money. They didn't like talking about how much they made, their salary, their bonuses, what they negotiated for. In fact, most of them didn't even negotiate their salary. So when I used to bring up some of these conversations just to understand, how we can better leverage our skills and expertise and negotiate for more money and have these conversations, many nurses were just uncomfortable. They shied away from having these conversations and they just didn't want to talk about it. So I thought, well, if nurses don't want to talk about money, financial literacy, building wealth, and it's uncomfortable for them, then they're going to have a very difficult time advocating for themselves and negotiating their salary. And they're not going to be equipped with the right business acumen and skills to negotiate their salary to build this wealth. So then I wrote the book. So many nurses came up to me and were like, how did you start your coaching business? Do you have to be certified? Because there's so many things out there. And to be honest, anybody who follows my content, I will tell you the real. Like, you don't need more certifications. You don't need more degrees. You don't have to go back to school to get an MBA. And again, I'm someone who really supports education. I myself got a doctorate in organizational leadership and a master's in education, right? So of course I support education, but I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do all these extra things to start a business. You can start a business where you're currently at now. And most people, I've done a lot of research on this. I've watched other business coaches such as Rachel Rogers, Jasmine Star, so many other coaches that lead, these huge business coaching programs and masterminds. In fact, I am a part of some business masterminds, and I invested a ton back into my business and back into my professional development. But what I have found is most people, including nurses, most of their goal is to make 10K a month, okay? And I'm talking about extra income, whether that's having a side hustle. They want to be able to make 10K a month. Yes, some want to make more, like, they want to make 20K or 30K or whatever. But the majority of people want to start at that 10K range. And they think, okay, once I make that 10K, then I can decide whether I want to drop down to part-time or drop down to per diem and continue on with this business, right? And I want to share that it's actually not that difficult to get to 10K a month. As I mentioned, I've been in many, business programs. I've done a lot of research in terms of reading books, podcasts, following different people like Alex Hormozi, Cody Sanchez, all these people, right? But 10K a month is like the first milestone. It's the easiest to get to, because literally all you need to do is create an offer that is either a 10K offer for one person per month, or you could do a 5K offer where you only need 2 people to buy into that 5K offer. Or if you wanted to, you could do $2,500 for 4 people or $1,000 for 10 people. And I am sure that you have something to give in terms of an offer, whether it's a coaching program, helping them do something. It's not as difficult as we make it seem. And literally, people think you need a bunch of money in order to start a business. You actually don't. All you need is the vision, the consistency, a lean business plan, literally your idea that solves a problem in the marketplace, whatever that solution is, whether it's a product or a service. I highly recommend service-based businesses such as coaching or consulting to start with. Many people start with educational-based ones. Some nursing students I know are doing tutoring services where they just tutor other nursing students. And you can do the same by tutoring to help nursing students just pass their courses, or even just pass the NCLEX. Excuse me. I know people, some physicians that are just teaching people how to be board certified. Other nurses are teaching other nurses how to be certified. So I myself had 6 board certifications: certified emergency nurse, certified pediatric emergency nurse, trauma certified nurse, nurse executive advanced board certified, also nursing professional development board certified, and patient experience board certified, which is called CPXB, right? The professional. A lot of people don't even know that there's a patient experience certification. I have it. So that's another thing that you could potentially do. There are so many things that you can currently do, what you already know now, and turn it into a business model. You just have to realize, who do I want to serve? How bad is the issue? And create an offer that you can help people, and you can easily make it to 10K. So these are the things that we're going to be talking about at the Nurses Making Business Moves conference, right? How to start a business and how to grow your current business. And the big thing is just consistency and commitment. Are you committed to doing the work, showing up consistently? So one big issue that most people have in their business in the beginning is lead generation. And sometimes we go through waves, or where we struggle with it, but it's because we're not being consistent. So you have to have some type of consistent method where you are talking about your products, giving value to your audience so that you start creating that trust. So my personal topic will be about branding, and I'll touch upon a little bit of marketing as well at the conference. And the branding is so important to create trust. And I created a whole framework around it that I'll discuss at the conference. My own framework. I call it the brand trust framework. And it's, Dr. Farah Lorentz brand trust framework. The core and the center is trust, because whatever you do leads back to that trust. You have to have credibility, you have to be visible, and you have to give value. And that is what really my framework is about. If people don't see you, in business, we talk about the know, like, and trust factor. If they don't see you, they don't know who you are, they don't know who you serve, they don't know what product or service you can deliver to them, it's going to be very hard for you to get customers. So what I started realizing is I have to be consistent with content creation. So that's number one. That is an easy way to start attracting clients. Okay. Other ways that people are doing it are through webinars, right? This is a proven systematic method where you hold a webinar every single week. You know, marketing geniuses like Russell Brunson and all these other marketers will tell you if you're consistent with webinars, that's another way that you can attract more leads. They'll get to know you. You know, you give them something during the webinar, and then later on, if they choose to work with you, you already have that trust that you've created. So I started a webinar called the New Nurse to Dream Role webinar, where I share with new nurses literally the 5 biggest mistakes that they make that's preventing them from landing their dream role. Okay. And if you want to sign up for this and you're watching and you're a new nurse, simply go to newnursejob.com, sign up for it. I have to update the date at the top, but don't worry about it. Just sign up for it. It'll bring you into my email list, and you will get notified whenever the next webinar is. It's typically every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you start consistently doing something like a webinar, you will have more and more and more people that follow you, that will trust you, and whatever offer that you're offering, they will say, hey, I know Dr. Fair has helped over 200 nurses get into these, new grad positions, residency programs like ICU, ED, labor and delivery. And I want to work with her because I see all her testimonials, all these nursing students and new grads that are getting jobs. And I can tell she's credible. She knows what she's talking about. She gives a lot of value. And I trust her. And that's when your business will start to flourish. But you can't just stop, right? You can't just get a bunch of potential leads, customers, and then stop what you're doing. You have to be consistent with whatever lead generation methods you're using, whether it's creating content, having a podcast, showing up on other people's podcasts, having that webinar, having an email marketing list, which you're constantly sending emails. Maybe you have a newsletter that you share. There are so many ways. I currently just also started a YouTube channel. It's under my channel, The Nursing Dose with Farah. I go live under The Nursing Dose with Farah, which is the podcast. But then if you go to actual videos, you'll see that I started creating videos specifically just for the new graduate nurse. Okay. And then another core thing, and another big mistake that nurses make when they want to start a business is, and I've made this mistake myself, is they don't know who their target audience is because they want to serve way too many people. So when I first started in coaching, I said, well, I'm going to help any nurse get into any role they want to, whether it's a new graduate, whether nurses want to get into education or in leadership, I'm going to help them. And then it became very hard to create content around that. When I flipped it and started sharing my own experiences as a new graduate nurse, as a nursing student, and starting creating content specifically for nursing students and new grads, that's when my messaging was more clear. They knew that I was talking to them as the new nurses, and they started coming to me like I just was attracting them. So you have to be specific about who your target audience is and clear about the offer that you have for them and how you solve their issue and what the transformation is, right? When we say transformation, really for me is the transformation is they go from being lost, not clear, to gaining clarity, to becoming extremely confident and switching their mindset to a growth mindset where they're super clear about what it is they want. Most of the new nurses that come to me have a huge imposter syndrome. They're like, I don't know if I'm good enough to be an ICU nurse. Maybe I should just settle for this for a couple of years and then pursue it. I'm like, no, pursue what you want in the beginning. So the biggest transformation is that confidence piece and just them being prepared. And that is the thread of the coaching program and all of the results is their confidence is transformed. And they literally feel unstoppable when they go to these interviews and they're so clear, so confident, and communicate with clarity. And they know how to pitch and promote themselves. And then boom, they just get the job. Because they're oozing and dripping with confidence and they're so competent when they get there. Okay. And that's the transformation that I provide for my clients. But in the beginning, I didn't know how to communicate that. A lot of times I would just talk about, the resume or the cover letters and the process, but it's not really the process. It's the end product of just them being super confident. That is the ultimate transformation. So when you're creating your offer, thinking about what you're going to do, that's kind of the model that you should follow, right? So again, back to the Nurses Making Business Moves Conference. If this sounds interesting to you, if you want to learn more about how to start your business or how to grow your current business, because maybe you're not getting enough clients, you don't know how to create content, you're afraid to get on camera and do videos or go live, and you're not really sure how to speak to your potential target audience, you don't know how to do any type of marketing, and you just feel lost, you don't know the next steps, this is the conference for you. Not only will you get the information and knowledge from nurse entrepreneurs who've already done it, but you'll also get information and access to all of the speakers. So proximity to all of the speakers and to other entrepreneurs that are not necessarily in nursing. Social media influencers, marketers, national pitch champions, sales trainers. You will get the chance to be in community and have access to them and have conversations that literally can save you years of you just trying to figure it out on your own or second guessing yourself or making all these mistakes. That time frame can be condensed just from you being in the room because proximity is truly key to success, right? Having access to information, access to resources, and that accountability from another community, like a community being a supportive community, no gatekeeping. When you leave the conference, you will not only have gained knowledge, you literally will be transformed. Your mindset will be transformed and you will start taking action. The last time we had the conference in Tampa, Florida, this is last year in March, we had nurses leave that launched their businesses, wrote books, started coaching, consulting businesses, private practices. Some of them started getting more speaking engagements, being invited to podcasts because something in them shifted and they were transformed from just being there that one weekend. Okay. So again, I'm super excited about this upcoming conference. Again, it's March 6th and 7th. It's a Friday and Saturday in Tampa, Florida, at the University of Tampa. There is still time to get your tickets, but not very much time, only a couple days. So for those who are ready to take action, and this conference is not for everybody, so don't get it twisted. We only want the people that are high achieving, action takers, go-getters, and ambitious that are ready for the next step. This room is reserved for those that are ready. If you're not ready, just don't even waste your time. Don't come. This conference is for the people that are ready to move, like the movers and shakers. This conference is for you. Okay. So I invite you to come hang out with us, be in community, March 6th and 7th, Friday and Saturday, at the University of Tampa in Tampa, Florida. Super easy to get to. If you're spontaneous, let's go. Literally just book your flight, get into the Tampa International Airport. It's super close and easy to get to. And it's about 10 minutes from the venue. There are tons of hotels. The hotels that I'm recommending, really one hotel is the Hilton downtown Tampa. But there are tons to choose from. And it's a Friday, Saturday. So the Friday will be 5 to 9 will be a networking event. DJ Riri will be there, all the attendees. There'll be attendees from all over the US, Canada, and even the UK. So I invite you to attend. And Saturday will be the all-day conference. So for those who want to attend virtually, you will get access to that full day conference on Saturday. So you'll hear all the speaker sessions and the panel discussion. So if you go to the website, which is nursesmakingbusinessmoves.com, nursesmakingbusinessmoves.com, you can purchase your virtual ticket or your in-person ticket there. Okay. And if for some reason you missed it, you can always message me on LinkedIn. I will send you a direct link so that you could purchase your virtual ticket or the in-person ticket. We also have the promo going on still. If you bring a friend, like bring your bestie, you can save a couple $100 on the conference. If you are a student watching and you want to come virtually or in person, I do have a student promo code and a special rate. So literally just message me on LinkedIn and you can get that. What else? You can find out more about all the speakers on nursesmakingbusinessmoves.com. The agenda is also there. You can download it directly from the site. But if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to direct message me on LinkedIn. That's where you'll find, a quick response because I'm typically always on there on LinkedIn. There are still spots available if you want to have a vendor table. So maybe you have a product or service that you want to put in front of nurses and other entrepreneurs. Direct message me if you do want a table. I do have a couple left. And if you want to become a sponsor, we are still accepting sponsors. We have different sponsorship packages. If you want to donate any amount, just direct message me. You tell me the amount, I'll send you the link, and you can donate if you want to support this mission, because really this mission is surrounded and embedded in just, we want nurses to have access to resources, financial literacy, and information that will help them build financial wellness and wealth, right? Wealth building strategies. And in order to do that, you need access to information, access to resources. I'm going to have a pitch competition where I'm giving away literally $5,000 to the pitch champion. So again, if you are a potential sponsor, you want to sponsor nurses and you want to support nurses that are interested in innovation and entrepreneurial ventures. This is your time to step it up and invest in nurses, support, specifically women in business, right? All nurses, but women in business, because we're going to have a lot of nurses there who just happen to be female because it's just nursing is just more of a dominated field when it comes to, females. All are welcome. There's no exclusion. Anyone can come. You don't even have to be a nurse. Anybody can attend. But it is in March, which is Women's History Month, and it's on International Women's Day weekend, because it's really about empowering females, empowering nurses to step into entrepreneurship and understand they have a lot of options, and they can create financial wellness for themselves, their families, and their communities. Because we know when nurses have the resources, have access, they do good things. Nursing is the most trusted profession. Year after year, we've been voted the most trusted profession. And this conference is really supporting nurses that have innovative ideas, who want to make a greater impact beyond the bedside. And again, nothing against the bedside. I help new grads get into bedside roles that they truly want. My mission is just to help nurses understand their options with traditional and non-traditional roles, and helping give them a pathway to see, all these different options. Because traditionally, nursing school does not highlight all the different options there are in healthcare and in nursing for the nursing role, right? There are jobs in tech, finance. You can be on boards. You can work for different companies that don't necessarily have a healthcare related thing in their name, right? There are so many different opportunities out there. So this is what this conference is about. And of course, at the foundation, nurses need to learn about business. They need to acquire business acumen, learn negotiation skills, learn how to market and promote themselves, learn how to position themselves for success, whether they're pitching a promotion or pitching to a potential investor for whatever product or service or business they're building. We need nurses to adopt more entrepreneurial mindset and thinking so that we can push our profession forward, have more innovative ideas, and normalize talking about money, talking about creating wealth and financial wellness. I shared a post earlier. I think it was in a newsletter that I dropped. So many times we talk about wellness, even with our patients in our communities or just with ourselves as nurses. We talk about wellness a lot. But what we fail to mention about wellness and health is the direct correlation with financial wellness, right? When people cannot afford certain things, right? They're struggling financially. Obviously, they're going to be struggling in their health and then their well-being, mentally and physically. I don't have to break it down. Everybody knows, right? The social determinants of health. These are all important things. So it's time for the nursing profession to also understand, when we enter nursing, we don't really get any financial education, financial literacy, and we don't really get taught how to negotiate our salaries, which is so crucial to our growth, right? Many times we stay stagnant in the same roles when we should be getting promotions, getting paid more. We stay quiet because we don't want to have those conversations, because it's rooted in fear and discomfort, because we don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to advocate ourselves for ourselves when it comes to that financial wellness piece. And a lot of times we settle for less because we keep thinking, well, if I get this next role, it's going to help me get a better salary next time. Or when I get this degree and we drop 50K, 70K, 100K on these programs, which again, I'm all for education, right? But how are we getting Where is the ROI? Where is the return on investment for dropping 50, 60, 100K on these programs? And then we go back to the workforce to apply to these roles and they're lowballing us. It's happened to me, both in academia and in the clinical setting. I'm helping new graduate nurses make anywhere from 120, 130K up to 200K for new nurses. And then we have nurse practitioners with tons of experience. I'm talking 10, 15 years of experience or more. And they can't seem to get a higher base rate than what they were making as a staff nurse. That is ridiculous. Let's start changing that. And it starts with us. We can't continue to accept these lowball offers and think, oh, that's just the way it is. No, we need to demand more, negotiate, take our skills, leverage what we know, our degrees, our certifications, and start demanding more. And if it takes leaving the bedside, going into other roles, starting our own businesses, or creating solutions where we can push our profession forward, healthcare forward. Let's normalize talking about money, negotiating our salaries, and demanding better work conditions and better pay for nurses. We literally put our lives on the line. I used to be an emergency nurse. Every day, I worked during the Ebola crisis. As a nursing student, I worked through SARS, and then they had to take us out. Right? COVID, we saw it. All these different things. We put our lives on the line, so we need to be compensated appropriately. And this is what the Nurses Making Business Moves Conference is all about, is normalizing, talking about building wealth, because there's nothing wrong with it, and demanding more for ourselves and our profession. And if it means stepping into entrepreneurship, let's go. Okay? Because I'm tired of nurses having 2, 3 jobs happen to me, living paycheck to paycheck happen to me, and struggling with finances. Again, having that financial stress mentally and physically, working all these extra hours overtime, thinking, oh, I'm going to get the next degree. I'm going to get more certifications. I'm just going to keep working. I'm going to get more, is not sustainable. It will lead you to burnout. So this is what the Nurses Making Business Moves Conference is about, is learning to switch off that employee mindset and move more into entrepreneur mindset and start thinking about value-based pricing, understanding how to generate your own income, creating different offers with what you already know. So if you enjoy working at the bedside, great, but you can still have a side hustle where you're increasing income, monetizing from doing whatever business on the side, or whether you choose to do it full time. Let's normalize nurses starting their own businesses. And again, it's not for everybody. I don't want any negative comments or haters, right? We're keeping it positive. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone, and it's not for every nurse. I'm just speaking to the nurses that are attracted to increasing their income, attracted to generating money on their own, wanting to create a bigger impact beyond the bedside, and wanting to do something more, right? And moving towards more innovative solutions to whatever it is that you're passionate about. Okay. So again, I hope that I got my point across about the Nurses Making Business Moves. Like I said, if you are a sponsor, if you're watching this, potential sponsor, you want to support this movement, this mission, the vision that I have for nurses. And again, this education and this conference is open to the whole profession. Nursing students will be attending this conference, new graduate nurses, and experienced nurses. And of course, there are also entrepreneurs that female entrepreneurs not in healthcare who will be there, because I truly believe that nursing needs to learn from other industries so that we can push our profession forward, whether that's learning from tech, marketing, other business, sectors and things like that. All right. So I hope this was helpful. I hope I got you guys fired up for the ones that want to start a business and, potentially start creating content, start building a personal brand, maybe starting a podcast, or maybe even thinking about writing a book, or you just want to start a coaching or consultant business. Please direct message me. If you're interested in more information, put business moves down below. I also will be starting another cohort of my group business coaching program. We will start after the conference. So if you're interested in getting into that coaching program, that will talk about all of these things and how you can either start or grow your business, put in the comments business moves on LinkedIn, or just direct message me business moves and say that you're interested in this coaching program. If you want to purchase your virtual tickets, you can do so at nursesmakingbusinessmoves.com. Just hit virtual ticket, it'll take you there. And you can still get your in-person ticket if you're feeling spontaneous, ready to take action. Let's go. I will see you in Tampa, Florida, March 6th and 7th. It's a Friday and Saturday. No excuse for all my high-achieving nurses, my movers and shakers, those that want to make business moves, those want to make money moves. Let's go. This conference is for you. It's going to be lit. It's like none other. No conference is like this, and it's really just a movement. If you want to support, direct message me. You want to become a sponsor, message me as well. And if you're interested in this group business coaching program that I'm going to start post-conference, message me business moves and say that you're interested in this group coaching. And again, the best way to reach me is on LinkedIn. So go find me on LinkedIn. I'm Dr. Farah Laurent on LinkedIn. Again, thank you for watching and listening to the updates about the conference. Any questions, just let me know. Drop it in the chat. Thank you guys for watching. If you happen to be watching the replay, same thing, drop any comments or questions that you guys have below. The conference, again, is happening March 6th, 7th, 6th and 7th, Friday, Saturday, in Tampa, Florida at the University of Tampa. Again, my name is Dr. Farah Laurent. I'm the founder and host of Nurses Making Business Moves. I will see you at the conference. Okay? Thank you for watching. That's it.